Hi, you guys. Welcome to chapter 3 of Steal Like an Artist. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties there getting my live stream going on time. I see everybody's in the chat already saying hi. We have Sandra and Kim back for, gosh, this must be the 16th week in a row, going strong. Hi, guys. So happy you're here. How was your week? Did anybody do our homework or remember what our homework was? I did not do my homework, but I plan on making it a video this week. So if you don't recall, it was on page 41 here of our Steal Like an Artist, and it said, copy your heroes, examine where you fall short. What is there that makes you different? And that's what you should amplify and transform into your own work. So the homework with my interpretation of that is to find one piece of art or music or whatever your outlet is, and find one that you want to recreate. Go then and recreate it, and then see if you feel like it was missing something. See if there was anything that you added to it, and not to plagiarize, but just as an exercise. So Zandra says she didn't write it down. And she didn't do it, same as me, so we're all on the same page here. Kim said she didn't do it, she didn't write it down and lost it. So that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video for this week, and I'm going to put it over there on my Patreon, and I'll walk you through what I did, and that way we'll all be on the same page. So I'm going to break it down for a piece of visual art. It can, of course, be applied to poetry. It can, of course, be applied to music. So whatever it is that somebody has created that inspires you, go ahead and try and find something to then recreate. And what I always like to think about when I'm recreating a piece of art is the structure of it first. So it's a little bit like writing an essay in English class, where you like make your outline, and then you go through and hone in on the details. So say for an essay, it would be, what are your 5 points? Is it a persuasive essay? Is it a data essay? So whether it be, if it's persuasive, then you find 5 points of persuasion that you want to talk about that you can then move into paragraphs. If it's data driven, then you want to find 5 points of data that you move in. So it's just kind of something like that. So whatever the structure is of what you're creating, just kind of go through and retroactively rebuild it. An additional example that I can give you is when I was teaching for paint night, they would assign me a painting, and then I would write down the order in which I thought they painted it. And then I would set a timer for an hour, because my class was 2 hours and I had to paint it in an hour if I wanted to give people one-on-one attention. So then I would go through with my written instructions and try and do it as fast as I could and see if I was able to do it. So again, that's your homework. Recreate a piece of art that you really want to do. And actually, that's kind of in line with this week's chapter as well. So we'll just kind of move that forward. And homework is voluntary. You're not going to lose points. So this is what is it, like, whose line is it anyway, where the points don't matter? So yeah, we're all on the same page here. Cool. Did you guys manage to read through this week's chapter? It was a lot shorter than last week's. So I read through it pretty quickly. So if you managed to read this week's chapter, give me a word over there in the chat. Zandra started our word, so that's kind of our thing now. Also, I have the accompanying journal that goes with the book, because I like activities and whatnot. Zandra says she didn't read it. She was waiting. That's cool. You guys feel free to read it before or after the video chat. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever you feel works best with your schedule. Word, 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 word. Word is a word, Zandra says. Yes, it was a good one. Kim read it. Love the mix-up family tree. Yeah, that was the other thing, is I wanted to build out my family tree. You know, as you guys know, I printed off my Salvador Dali painting like literally it was him painting a photo of him. So yeah, the family tree was good. And I like to mark up my books. So I don't know if you guys are like this, but I'm very active with my reading. I make it into an activity. I even doodle in this. So, very good. All right. Does anybody have any commentary from the week? Anything that you ran across that would be relevant to creativity? Zandra says you can tell how far she's gotten in a book by where the pencil stops. Yeah, exactly. Like you can tell if I'm slacking if there's no markups. Like literally this is what my book looks like. I write in the margins, I underline. That's okay. I outlined the quote for this week. Can you guys see it? Oh. All right. Well, happy Sunday. We've made it another week. I went to a free clinic this week and I got a COVID-19 test and I got the results back and I am clear, which is really cool because I did some things last week. I got myself into some situations that I felt very uncomfortable with. So I'm glad that the free testing clinic was there and I got my results so quick. So if you haven't gotten tested and you've been out and about, probably a good idea just to see if you need to quarantine. I was kind of scared because anyway, there was 2 instances that happened. The testing clinic, so you just go to the City of Seattle website and you look for the testing clinic. There's 2. There's one in Aurora and there's one in SoDo. So Aurora is like in North Seattle. So it's let's see, it was just it's in between Greenwood. Yeah, right off Aurora. Yeah, so I just went and got tested because like I see hundreds of people a day and like for the most part I'm the only one wearing a mask. And then I was at the beach and I was trying to social distance and then all of a sudden it got really crowded really fast and people kept like trying to talk to me and I just couldn't get my mask on fast enough because people weren't being like mindful. So the test is $199. Yeah, I mean I went to a free testing site. Luckily, like so they like to say that there's free testing everywhere, but I ran into like a bunch of issues to where it wasn't as readily available as they claim that it is, but I still was able to get it. So that's a lot. Like, yeah, I hope you can find a free testing site somewhere because that's kind of scary. But regardless, if you're being careful, you're probably okay. So just wear that mask and don't let anybody get near. Highway robberies, Andra says. Kim says testing is $199 where she lives. That's crazy. $200 for a test, which, like, I understand you have costs, but some places, yeah. Well, just be careful. Wear your mask. Wear your visors. I've also been wearing eyeglasses, too, so people don't get their spit spray in my eyes. Oh, but yeah, that was the other reason. Somebody actually spit in my eye, and then I was at the beach. So for those 2 reasons, I was like, okay, like I really need to go get this test. But I'm good. Resist stepping on political soapboxes, Andra says. Yeah, we won't go there. This is about art and creativity and what we can do for our mindset to stay creative. Sorry, I'm just really excited. I just got my results, so we'll circle back to the book. Thanks, guys, for bearing with me here. So, all right, if nobody else has anything to add, I wanted to show you guys what my favorite activity in the journal was. This week, I was like really excited. I'm really into music. Music and art is my big love. So my favorite activity from the book this week was to make a mixtape. Yeah, dude, no. Okay, pausing this. So Zondra's saying someone spit in your eye. Did you respond with shin kicks? No, I was out on my patio and I have a sub-level apartment. And so there's a sidewalk above. And I was walking outside and all of a sudden some guy goes, hey. And I look up and he lunges towards me, spits in my, like right here, sprayed on my arm, obviously got spray everywhere. You know, I don't know who this person was. And he goes, fuck you. And then he walks away. So my neighbor was standing outside and she's like, do you know that guy? And I was like, I've never seen that person before in my life. And she's like, you need to go wash that off. And I was like, oh, because I was just like, what just happened? It was just like that fast. And so I go inside and I wipe off my face and then I like call my mom and she's like, no, you need to take a shower. You need to wash everything. And I was like, oh yeah. So I washed everything. But I called the police. They showed up like an hour later. And the guy was super nice, actually. He was like, I'm really sorry that happened to you. They got a description of him. There's a video camera for my apartment, but it's pointed in towards the lobby, so we didn't have any actual footage. So that was really like, yeah, people are like really weird right now. Yes, the guy got away scot-free, didn't get caught, whatever. But I went and got a COVID test, so I'm really glad I don't have that. I don't know if there's anything else that I should be worried about transferring through spit, but I'm good. So anyway, that was my crazy story. Welcome to the world where people just want to get away with things. But regardless, I'm okay. Everything's fine. So Zondra's saying expletives in the chat, rightly so. It's not cool. It's not okay to do that to somebody else, but we're all good. So Zondra says not to be slanderous, but was he homeless? She got spit in the eye pre-COVID by one of those on the bus. You know, I couldn't tell if he was homeless or not, and he looked fairly clean, but he was wearing like a blue and red like 90s tracksuit. There are a lot of homeless people around here. Like one homeless guy the other day like swore at me as I walked by. So I don't know. I've dealt with a lot of homeless people here in the area. A lot of them are nice. And then a lot of them are just like, they need help and they're not getting it or for whatever reason. So, yeah, he was very angry, but you know, c'est la vie. I'm just glad that I'm not that angry walking around to accost, because they filed it under assault. So I'm just glad I'm not the angry walking around assaulting people. I wish that he would get caught so that he wouldn't do that to anybody else. But unfortunately, he got let go. Yeah. Sandra is again resisting soapbox and saying those poor people. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of icky stuff going on. But anyway, story time. Back to the journal. Here we go. So yeah, again, my favorite activity for this week was to make a mixtape, and it's for making a mixtape for someone who doesn't know you. So I made a mixtape. Oops, sorry guys. I made a mixtape for whoever I'm gonna fall in love with one day. Aw, so sweet, right? I called it My Heart Skips a Beat. So I'm putting love songs in it because, you know, why not? So anyway, what was your guys' favorite task from the journal this week if you do it? There's a bunch of stuff in here I chose not to do just because I was like, oh, I can't quickly do that. Like there's a 30-day challenge. So for every day I will blank. I'm actually going to start this today. My 30-day challenge is every day I will do one thing for my business. So whether it be, you know, learning something new, doing something with marketing, doing something with my website, writing a blog, doing a video for you guys, editing my Patreon, making my Instagram posts all ready to go so they automatically post. There's so much that I can do for my business that if I just do one thing a day, that's going to help me a lot. So that's what I'm going to start with this week. I did a meditation challenge earlier. It was a 21-day meditation challenge. That was really cool. Okay, Kim, she wrote a fan letter to Robert Plant. Oh my gosh. So that one, write a fan letter. That's awesome. Did you mail it or did you write it in your book? So yeah, I'm gonna do my mixtape, and I'm gonna do my 30-day challenge. So these aren't really like small 15-minute ones. These are ones that I'm just gonna work on. Sandra says, nice job to Kim. I'm gonna just go ahead and mark with my little sticky notes that I need to do my 30-day challenge and that I need to finish my mixtape. So that's fun times. So Kim, you actually mailed your fan letter. That's so exciting. To a generic address that was listed. Perfect. Well, hopefully Robert gets your letter and appreciates it. Oh my gosh. So another fun one that I did was, you're a barista, because I am a barista by day and an artist by night. Ooh, moonlighting. So you're a barista. Start tip jar wars to maximize your tips. And I did naughty ones. I did mask, no mask, following your dreams, procrastinating, and yeah, we'll just stop there. The other ones. So anyway, another thing we could do is steal a title from a book you've never read and invent your own story. And this actually coincides with this week. So it says, steal a title from a book you've never read and invent your own story. And with that, I'm going to jump right into this book, chapter 3. And it's write the book that you want to read. So have you guys ever done that? There's some examples in here that I'm going to go over really quickly. And it's, so what we're doing in this chapter is we're debunking a myth. Have you ever heard the phrase, write what you know? Like, you don't know what to write about, write what you know. I think a lot of us have. And in here, Austin tells us that writing what you already know doesn't get you anything of value or anything good or anything new. So this idea of writing the book that you actually want to read is going to be something to where you're like, okay, have you ever read a book and you were like, yeah, I really liked the storyline, but it's kind of missing something. Or he talks about seeing Jurassic Park and then being so excited for the sequel that he actually sat down on his old PC as like a 10-year-old and he typed out the sequel to the Jurassic Park movie. And in his words, he says, in his treatment, the son of the game warden gets eaten by the velociraptors, goes back to the island with the granddaughter of the guy who built the park. One of them wants to destroy the rest of the park and the other wants to save it. But of course, they fall in love and adventures ensue. So that being said, he goes, I didn't know it at the time, but I was writing what we now call fan fiction. And then he says that a few years later, when Jurassic Park 2 finally came out, he thought that it sucked. And he says that the sequel always sucks compared to the one that we have in our minds. So coming back to this concept of write what you want to read, not what you know, he says, the question every young writer at some point asks is, what should I write? And the standard answer is, write what you know. And this advice always leads to terrible stories in which nothing interesting happens, which totally cracks me up. So Kim's saying there's lots of activities that push you to creativity in the journal, which is really cool because you don't even have to do all of them to get anything out of it. You can just go through and do the ones that you want and then go back through and work on the other ones if you're so inclined. I think that for me, being a perfectionist, I have this trouble where I'm very analytical. I'm very dot your T's, cross your I's, do everything in order. But I'm also an artist. Like, I'm an artist first and foremost, but I allow that stuff to get in the way of me creating, because if it's not just so, then I can't move on, right? Well, we can abandon that. It doesn't have to be just so. You can move on. However, if there are certain inclinations for perfectionism, for order, for neat and tidiness, it's important that we honor that so that we don't put ourselves in this corner, back ourselves into this corner to where we feel like we can't do anything because we're not honoring both sides of what we need, right? So it's not one or the other. We can marry them and have like a compromise, right? So for me, that's like what I have to constantly keep in mind. Back to the book. We've got a quote here from Brian Eno. I really liked it. And so, you know, I did some fun outlines around the box. That's me doodling as I read, which is okay. Some people think that that is just terrible to write in a book, but I obviously am not one of those people. Write in that book, underline it. Just like Zandra says, if you could tell how far I got in the book by where my scribbles stop. Kim says, eBay has some of these journals for $5 and Amazon has them for about $13 new. So I just got mine off Amazon. I always try and encourage you guys to buy them direct from the artist, but sometimes I do take the easy way out. I do buy things from Amazon, but if you can, if it's convenient, if at all possible, you think of it. So we make art because we like art. We're drawn to certain kinds of work that we're inspired by. What does it say? We're drawn to certain kinds of work because we're inspired in that work. And all fiction, in fact, is fan fiction. The best advice is not to write what you know, it's to write what you like. Same with painting. Paint what you like. Don't paint what you know, paint what you like. What do you like? Start there. You won't lose interest. What kind of story that you like best? Write the story you want to read. The same principle applies to your life and your career. Whenever you're at a loss for what move to make next, just ask yourself, what would make a better story? And of course, we know that this is an opinion. So this is what would make a better story in your opinion. Sometimes we have people that are very well versed in these things, but we're just going by layman stuff here. Again, Zandra also says that the journal is on Bookshop, so she might get it there. Yeah, wherever you can find it. If not, you know, you can always, based off what I say here, you can kind of jot down a note and maybe do the activity on your own. But I do 100% support other artists. I'm encouraging you to support the people that made these books. I don't want it to become a problem where I understand that not everybody has the funds for things right now, but if you do have the funds, I do encourage you to support this author, as this is really cool content and it's really helpful. So, you know, we want them to get some credit or some funds here for their work. All right, so okay. So there's this band called Deer Hunter, and Bradford Cox is a member, and he was talking about how when he was a little kid, he didn't have the internet. And so whenever a new album would come out, he would be just waiting in anticipation, because, you know, you can't stream anything online until the album actually comes out, right? Like, so you hear the songs and all that, but you can't actually have it to listen to at home. All these prehistoric, pre-internet days. I remember the good old days of dial-up. So what he would do is, in anticipation for the new album, he would write his own songs into what he hoped that the album would sound like. So this is his own creative exercise that he would do. And so he would record a fake version of the songs that he himself wrote. And then when the album came out, he'd actually go and compare what the the album actually sounded like to his own versions. And then it's so cute because at the end here, he's now in this band called Deer Hunter, and many of the songs that he wrote in anticipation of these albums actually showed up later in his career on his own music productions, on his own albums for his band. So I thought that was super cool. And again, like just that anticipation and the curiosity and the longing that we can cultivate in ourselves can then come out and create our own artwork, even if it's inspired by somebody else. And of course, inspiration comes in so many places. So I thought that was super cute. Have anybody here done anything like that? Like I remember when I was a kid, we would listen to music and make our own music videos for them, for the songs, and we'd like choreograph them on our own. That's like the biggest thing for me. And that's actually kind of funny because I never really thought of myself as a dancer. But when I was a kid, I would always like choreograph stuff. And now as an adult, like I love dancing. Like it's a really good outlet. It's a good outlet for creativity, for physical energy, for emotional buildup. Moving your body and connecting with your body is really helpful in many different ways. So that's kind of cool. Oh, I really like this. Let's see. So on that, excuse me, 1 second. I have one of these glass straws and it's in a glass cup and I really don't like how it's clinking. So I'm just going to clink it more so you guys can enjoy it too. So when we love a piece of work, we're desperate for more. Same with him. What is his name? Bradford Cox of Deer Hunter. He would talk about how he would be anticipating an album. So when we love a piece of work, we're desperate for more. We crave sequels, and why not channel that desire into something productive? So anticipating something. So anytime we're anticipating something, think about that energy. Oh God, I can't wait for it to get here. Oh, like your every moment is bent on thinking of that thing. Go in and just create something. Sandra says that she always loved to read the title of songs and then imagine what the songs might be. She says she does this without thinking about it now, and it has spawned many ideas when a song didn't match my vision of it. I love it. That's so perfect. So it's like, oh, Sandra, okay, that is such a perfect illustration. I love that. There's a movie called Everything is Illuminated, and it is one of my favorite movies in the world. It's an indie film. It has Elijah Wood in it. It's based off of a book by Jonathan Safran Foer, and it's about him going to the Ukraine to try and find the city or the town is the right word, very small town, community of people from where his family was from. They were Jews being persecuted, and they had to flee to America. And so they left some history behind. He had a photo, and so it's like this whole story about that. And they find somebody in the story. And yeah, so Zandra says she's read the book and it's hilarious. And so now this is about the Holocaust, and I found the movie like incredibly funny, but also a giant tearjerker. Like you cry. So, so Zandra's saying a quote from the movie, "They are having shit between their brains." I love that quote too. That is a book quote. Yeah. So anyway, in this movie, one of the characters couldn't read, and he would go to the library and he would check the library books out and he would just hold them and he would think about the book and he would imagine what was in the book. And that's just like so synonymous with what we're doing here, is with our creative work here, is if you imagine what the book says and you can't read it, can you just think about that for a minute? You just spend all this time going to the library, checking books out, touching them, feeling them, imagining what it actually says. I thought that was really interesting. Zandra says she didn't know that it was a movie. Yeah. So anyway, that's some content that I didn't really think about. That's really cool. So I'm glad you've read that book. That's one of my favorite movies. So I tried to read the book and then I got busy, and you know how things go. So back down here, let's take a minute. Let's think about our favorite work and our creative heroes. What did they miss in their work that you might add from your own personal point of view? What didn't they make that maybe you would want to see? What could have been made better in your opinion? If they were still alive, what would they be making today? Were they influenced? I mean, I think all art, everything is influenced by the time that you're living in, of course. So what would they be making today in today's environment and with everything that's going on? If all your favorite makers got together and collaborated on something, what would they make with you leading the crew? What kind of tasks would you delegate for them? So that's kind of fun. I always come back to like some really core artists that really influenced me from when I was in actual school, the traditional artists that they teach you. I have a lot of artistic influences now, but I always just go back to those core artists. So whatever it is that you're imagining that they could make, they should have made, in your opinion, what did they miss? Go out and make that stuff now. Take some notes. Like, what I find in my visual art that writing down what I want to create helps me approach my visual art in a more direct way. So that might be an interesting activity for you to do, is to write out what you want to present visually, or vice versa, maybe visually draw what you want to write. Zandra says she had an idea like this to reimagine Twilight if Bella wasn't interested in Edward, if she was a more modern feminist type. Oh, I love that. You could totally, like, the whole story would change, right? Like, she actually knew her worth and knew that Edward was exhibiting abusive behaviors and was controlling and all that. I read that book and I was just like, God, kids are reading this. And I read the books. I enjoyed reading them. It's fun to get swept away in fantasy land, but cognizantly, I'm aware that unplugging her car battery, that is abuse. That is controlling, abusive behavior, right? But they're vampires. He's trying to make her safe. Whatever. Ugh. So Zandra, I guess what you're saying is if Bella was like me. Anyway. So the manifesto is this: draw the art you want to see, start the business you want to run, play the music you want to hear. What do you think is missing? So you go and do that, right? So do the work that you want to see done. And I really like this here. We have an illustration here on how ideas can build upon each other. So one idea is just a single line, 2 ideas is 2 parallel, 3 makes a triangle, 4 is a square, and then it goes on and all these lines build on and you get to something totally different as you add ideas and concepts. Zandra says, if you think Twilight is bad, you haven't read or watched The Kissing Booth. Terrible and addicting. And she says, I will make you Bella. That's so funny. Yeah, I don't think I want to read The Kissing Booth. Some of that stuff just makes me so sick. As I learn things, I'm like, oh, gross. Come on. All right. Well, that's the end of chapter 3. So again, back to chapter 3. Let's find a piece of work. Okay, so here we have the next thing we can do for an activity. So the next activity we can do is to think about a piece of work that you really liked and imagine how you would then recreate it. So this kind of builds on last week's activity, which is to copy your heroes. So last week's, it was find something that you really enjoy and completely just copy it. And just do that as an exercise. We're not trying to plagiarize. We're trying to do this as an exercise. And then this week's is find something that you really admire, a piece of work from somebody that you really admire, and reinvent it. And maybe take it, and this still falls along the line of plagiarism, so you don't want to present this work as your own. You want to present this work, say what it was inspired by, and cite your sources if you're posting this anywhere, because we want to give credit where credit is due. But take a piece of work that you found really inspirational and just add something that you think would make it better in your personal, and better is relative, right? I'm not trying to demean any creative. So, what is it? You could do any one of these things, what would you add? What would you create that you think they would make? If they were still alive, what kind of work would they be making today? So, or you can even do if all your favorite makers now this last one's a little more advanced. If all your favorite makers got together and collaborated, what would they make with you as a leading crew? So you can use this as a writing exercise. You can literally just write down what you would change, or you could actually go through and recreate it. And however deep you want to go on it is going to be, the deeper you go on it, probably the more you'll get out of it. But even if you just do something really quick, you'll still get something out of it. So that's our homework for this week. This, I have some notes from last week. I did go through and check out some of the artists that were recommended last week. I did check out, one of the artists was Josephine Wall. I believe it was Sabrina that suggested Josephine Wall. She said she really liked the Nature's Whisper deck. I did go and look at that. It is really, really beautiful. It's very ethereal and dreamy. I believe I've actually seen this artist's work before and loved it because I recognized the vibe of it. So if you guys haven't checked that out, Sabrina Wall. Also, I think, Sabrina requested that I check out Josephine Wall, and I really enjoyed that. Also, we were looking at, Sabrina requested maybe we look at doing a psychedelic medicine art book. I wasn't really able to find a book on the topic, but there is a company, if you go to maps.org, they do a lot of psychedelic research in medicine, and things like that. And I was able to find an article that they put out about how psychedelics influenced our current artwork. It's a PDF article. And so I went and downloaded that, and I'm going to actually review it. Oh my God, I got a hair in front of my eye. So I did go down and download that, and that's something that I kind of want to take a look at. And again, I did tell you guys last week too about Alex and Allison Gray, how they're very open about how they use psychedelics in their art. So if you guys haven't, again, just a recap, that family tree we were discussing, find an artist that you really get inspired by, research the devil out of them, and then find 3 people that they're inspired by, and then research those people, and then kind of build out your family tree. And there was, in the beginning of this book too, I didn't show you, I got distracted, but at the beginning of chapter 3, for your family tree activity, it shows here how we can gather the branches of your tree. I don't like how this is showing my mouth. You can gather the branches of your family tree, and you kind of just mix and match the characteristics of their work. And then you come down and you make what they would make. And this is going to kind of be our homework. This is a nice illustration for our homework. So Kim has a comment here. She said she did she did page 44 in the book. Oh, which is this? This is what I'm talking about. So Kim said she did this on page 44. She mixed up the branches with Frida Kahlo and William Morris together. I bet that would be really cool. So yeah, let's use page 44 as our homework. And if you go to page 48, in the middle, this paragraph here is our actual activity that goes with that. If you need a verbal description of the illustration, so we'll write page 44, activity. So yeah, and so Frida Kahlo and William Morris. I want to look at their work just to see. And you know, if you want to share your work, you guys, I have an art group that I've neglected on Facebook. If you guys are interested, I can add you to the art group and you can post your homework in there. I'd like to incorporate that. If you guys want me to add you, give me a word and I'll add you to the art group. And if I really love to see what you're working on throughout the week, and then we can share it with each other so we can actually have more of a visual. So let me know if that works for you. Let's see, and I'm gonna look up William Morris. Kim Zandra says word. William Morris. Ooh, no you didn't. How pretty. I love it. Kim, I love William Morris. Oh my God. And then you said you merged it with Frida. I bet that is gorgeous. And how perfect, right up your alley. I could totally see some kind of stained glassy kind of influence in there. Like I feel like that would be, oh, it's gorgeous. I recognize his work too. I know I've seen it before. Beautiful. Okay, so I'll add you guys to the art group and then we'll start being active throughout the week on that. We can kind of use that as our place to show our work and touch base to each other. I'm still, my goal is to finish my website by the end of this month. And I know I told you guys, oh, I'm going to finish my website, but I'm doing that today. And then I'm getting going on my Patreon. I do have some show and tell if you guys want to wait for a second. I finished my painting. So this is the painting that I've been working on for the BLM movement. So I finally finished it. I added all these leaves in here to the vines that are spiraling, that are turning it. So the arms are turning into the spiral vines, showing that we're all connected. And if we work together, we can grow a better community. We can grow a better life for everyone. So all of the proceeds for this painting are going to go to benefit. I still haven't picked out my charity. So I'm going to do that today. I want to put a pin in this. So this is going to go up. I'm going to have an auction for this. And so I need to iron that out. But I finished this. And I'm so glad you guys love it. Kim says she loves it. It's just a 18 by 16, 1 inch deep, not even an inch, just a half an inch wrapped canvas. Black and white paint. And my black paint has a little bit of indigo in it, and you can kind of tell more in person. So I'm really, really excited about this. I'm gonna unveil my website this week. It's got to be done. I'm done. I have to finish it. All right, you guys, it was lovely to see you. I will add you to that group and look forward to seeing you next week. If you feel like it, you can go through and read the chapter ahead of time. Otherwise, just whatever at your leisure. And again, of course, just have fun going through the journal. And I'm really excited you guys came back to join me. All right. Have a happy, happy week. Kim says that the leaves look a little bit 3D, which is cool. I'm glad that you said that. Some of these little guys in here are just in the background, but I wanted them to look 3D. I actually have a pathos, I think it's a pathos plant that I just kind of rotated and painted the leaves. But I didn't want too many of them on there because, you know, this is kind of symbolizing we're just getting these nice new fresh leaves right now. You know, there's a lot of work to be done. This plant can still flourish, but right now we're just looking at what we got and like, man, we gotta nurture it. Sandra says she likes it. Awesome, you guys. Oops. I gotta sit sideways with the skirt. Okay. Well, anyways, thank you guys so much. It was lovely to see you. I'll add you to that group. I look forward to seeing what you're working on. And ciao for now. Have a happy week, guys.